Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dice Cult for this special episode, straight to video. As you can see, we're on Zoom and we're having a good time.
Having a good
But
time.
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do because you're in the middle of a beautiful storytelling moment and you'll do whatever it takes to get there. It's episode 162. I'm your DM, Jillian. Today we have our players, same as always. We have Kyle, Matt, Katie, Josh, and Greg. And this beautiful second week of the new year, I am giving everyone the gift of an inspiration, but this inspiration can only be used for your friends and not for me, not for yourself, only your friends. And so if somebody does a roll, you do not ask if you can give them this. You do not ask somebody to have the advantage of this beautiful dice is not advantage, it's inspiration. But if you are gifted this by your friend, you must use it. And no dogpiling, please and thank you. Big preach. Anywho, I'll go ahead and jump into a bit of a recap, and then I think we can get the ball rolling. For the how manyth time tonight? Feels like a million. But I'm just happy to be here. I'm just happy to be here with my friends.
A
Um,
group of artists and friends will do it as many times as it must be done.
and yeah, I have a limit. There is a
Many
number. I won't
takes
say
as
what it
necessary.
is. I won't say what my number
The
is, but
Is
must
it's
it
be done is
two.
two?
a certain number.
It's two. The number's two. I give up after the second one. Anywho, all of you are currently at the final night, the third night of the biggest party of the year. Guests ranging from interesting to malevolent. Wherever you think you land in that spectrum, that's up to you. But none of you actually got a ticket of your own accord. You had to work for it by either being dates or seconds or asking somebody really nicely to get all of you are currently um, fully split at this party. Everybody went immediately in different directions, even though 80% of the party arrived together. Uh, everyone immediately went different directions. Um, Keld and Nix went to talk to Calendula and got basically a chance to propose a way to clean the slate, as they had broken into Calendula's shop, stolen medical records, and destroyed the shop with a giant cat. And Calendula is like, "Hey, can we at least just even shit out for my sanity?" And everyone's like, "I think we could do that." And Calendula offered that you could come up with an idea before he does. And Keldon Nix brought to the table, um, firstly, the idea of finding a plant that they know to be indigenous to where they live, um, keeping on the back burner the possibility of getting a date with Torment as kind of the backup plan if the plant idea doesn't work. But Calendula, after figuring out where you live, realizes you are possibly in a region and possibly walking in a particular direction where you might come across a plant called water crimson, and has requested this very useful, very deadly plant. And says if you can get enough of it, that even, maybe a kindness, a tip for your work, and will make you a poison from it if there is enough for him to use and to be used to help you. Both of you shake hands with Calendula on this, and the deal is struck. Nix immediately leaves to go to the lounge with Russ. They make out. That's end of story. That's it. That's the vibe. Um, uh, Fen goes and meets up with Corrine. As I only can imagine, they all walk in together, and then people just start walking, and it reveals Fen left alone in that spot, and he's like, "Okay," and then goes to do what he wants to do as everybody walked away. And he goes to find Corrine, and Corrine has a little mental conversation with him, informing him that the stickers that he smuggled in on his wrist, they are not like the invitations in the sense that they let you into the space, but these are used for tracking purposes. That these are people that she considers to be dangerous. And these are people that need tabs kept on them because it's a spicy situation that they're dealing with. And Fen agrees. and is eager to please and eager to help, and is very willing to go through the arduous process of having to put a sticker atop or somewhere on the person of, in this case, a dignitary from the Underdark. There we go. I went through every other underword in my brain until we got there. From the Underdark, and Fen has been informed that he cannot tell anyone about this, and if he is caught, this was his choice. Nobody else is involved. And Fen says bet and gets to it. And Fen is off on a mission. He has 3 people that he needs to hit. Currently, he is going for I feel like king is a very strong word, but the spouse of the Queen Bela from the Underdark, who is currently very pregnant. Is it spitefully pregnant? Probably, but pregnant nonetheless. Nana goes to get drinks. Nana is currently in a situation where she can honestly just chill. There's nothing on Nana's agenda. Nana could be doing anything she wants to at this moment. She just has to be prepared for a possibility of a combat, but fully has basically a clear book, and goes to get a drink. And Keld stays and talks with Calendula for a moment, and Calendula searches deep into Keld's eyes for something and doesn't find what he's looking for, but does say, hey, honestly, I'll chill out a bit if you could figure out anything about that very sad man. If you could figure out why so sad, honestly, take as long as you need with whatever you're doing, because how fun and interesting. And Keld says, you know what? Actually, I'm also, let me go look at it. Let me go. And they part ways. Keld goes into the ballroom and is presented with the large ice fountain that is kind of like a wall divider inside of this space. And the room seems different and heavy, quiet, still. And he is drawn to the fountain, where it looks like some sort of plant is growing from within it. And when he touches this plant, he is brought backwards through his life, walking backwards out of the building, back onto the cart, through every major moment of his existence, until it just kind of stops, until his brain cannot continue to recall things, where it is just the forest before him and his father's voice saying he can't know. And Keld awakes from this vision with black hair wrapping around his wrist, which he pulls away from, splashing a woman with freezing cold water. Looking back, Keld sees nothing. And that's where I'd love to start, is Keld watching this woman walk away in a huff. And Keld, you look back to the fountain and there is nothing. There's nothing there. There's only this sensation of maybe the forming of a bruise on your arm. But the only thing you see when you look at the fountain is a bit of your reflection in the ice.
And it looks normal.
Roll me a perception check.
19.
19. No, hey, listen, let me click a button on Zoom without asking me 10 questions. Okay, sorry. Hey, guys. Sorry, I tried to push a button and that was a mistake.
Clearly, buttons were not meant to be pushed.
I'll keep my hands to myself. Sorry. Keld, you look to the fountain and you take it in for a moment, and it looks like you. Nothing strange.
I think I'd like to look around for my sister.
Okay, so you're leaving the ballroom, which now at this point has kind of return to what a normal existence in time and space would be, where you can hear everything just fine. There is no longer that heaviness and stillness in the air. You are fully in the space and it seems normal.
Didn't
And
a minute ago.
so would you like to do anything else, or are you going to find Nick somewhere?
I think I'm too preoccupied with that weird feeling that I'm gonna just kind of bolt and look for Nyx.
Okay. Give me.
You have a ring that'll just lead you to
That's
me.
true.
Can I use my ring? Now's
Ring.
the time.
Hey guys, magic item comes into play. Very exciting.
Sibling
We
ring
spent enough money on
time!
this. Use it.
Yeah.
So is it the sibling?
I'm
Sibling.
taking your inspiration away.
No!
Keld, you bolt out of the space and you hear behind you, hey, tough guy.
Oh no. I will glance back.
You look back. The first thing you see is the woman that you splashed. And a younger woman, maybe mid to late 20s, wearing what looks to be a velvet dress. Her hair is braided intricately in a way that it hangs sort of like a poncho over the shoulders. So her hair is part of the outfit of itself. And she looks pissed. And you're like, see, now the voice isn't lining up for me as you turn and look at her, because you did hear her talk. And then your eyes shift downwards and you hear, do you want to explain to me why you're throwing water on women? And your eyes go straight down to the 2-foot tall kobold standing in front of you, in front of his woman protecting her. He has orangey scales and is wearing a nice purple suit and is looking up at you, pissed.
I did not mean to splash water on anyone. I don't know if you'd believe me if I told you what I saw. So sorry. And then he's just gonna turn around and go.
Hey, Keld, I need you to roll persuasion.
Persuasion. Oh. What's my persuasion again? Okay.
It's not bad.
Well, that's a 9.
Oh,
Do it again! Do it again! Do it again! I'm doing it now!
I did take it from Max, so basically this is a good time to use it.
No,
All
you
right.
can't tell me I
reroll.
didn't. There it is, it's gone.
Nat 20. All right, 27.
It's the power of friendship.
I love you.
Friendship. Thank
Keld,
you.
you brush off this irate kobold man, who said, he's like, hey, I'm not done talking to you, as you begin making your way away.
I gotta find my sister.
And he, like, you can almost feel the clenching of his fists behind you. But for some reason, he's like, I believe this guy to an extent. But this isn't over. I'm just not going to be the guy that follows people through the courtyard screaming.
Exactly.
I'm a gentleman. And
That's damn right.
that kind of
Yeah.
plays to your advantage, that he does not want to present in a certain way at the party as the guy yelling across the courtyard at people. Keld, you follow your ring towards your sister, entering into the lounge where her and Russ, it's just tongues down each other's throats is the current scenario. And he turns around. Yeah.
Back to go fight
Grab
with
them
the
both
kobold.
by the shoulder.
Hands on both of y'all's shoulders. Hey there, Keld. Do you want a kiss?
No.
All right.
Okay. Keld's not laughing, but
Kel's having a
Oh,
bad
no.
time.
But I'm having a good time.
Keld is distressed. Greg having a great time.
Yeah.
Are
I
you okay? Do you want to sit down? Scoot over, make space.
I saw something else in that fountain. This was a lot more.
So not just the ghost. Like, okay. Do you want to? What was it?
Yeah. So it was like flashbacks, like starting from today, and it just went back. Everything we've gone through the past few months, back through childhood, like when we found you, but it stopped in this like things just sort of stopped, and like that seems normal, but also I could hear like our dad saying he shouldn't know, he doesn't need to know. And do you remember that?
That that was before you found me, or
Yeah. Was it?
If
Yes.
yeah, if you're going based off of if your thoughts are in order, it would be before you met Nyx.
Interesting.
that,
Hmm.
that seems weird. That doesn't really keep things from us, so that seems odd.
Right. I don't know, it just felt very wrong, but not as in like, I don't know.
Is
I
it
just
like
felt unsettled.
did it stop because that was you don't have anything from before that, or is it just like do
Well,
you
I'm
think
trying
that
to
was an
think back
important?
before that. And I can't, can I remember anything before that last flashback? That last
You think
memory?
you think back on your childhood, and once again, some of the memories in this breezed by quickly, and some smaller
Right.
memories were not present. You can kind of feel the jumps, though, that you know that you are moving through space rapidly to get to the next memory. And you felt a jump in that area where it's you found Nyx, and then you go through some minor memories of existing. You remember being young, but you do not remember being you don't remember like any birthdays that were like
Mhm.
early birthdays. None of those popped up. No memories being with your grandmother at a very, very young age. Um, no
That
memories of your
seems like
birth,
something
you
I
know?
would remember,
Yeah,
Grandma.
yeah. You can't picture anything in those earlier scenes besides the woods.
There's like this darkness between them. I can see the woods, but it just seems empty at the same time. I don't know, it's weird.
Do you So are we gonna just ask him when we get there, or I was gonna use it myself. I do have more of that dream stuff if you want to use that to try.
Hmm. Maybe we could try that tonight.
Yeah,
All right.
when we get back,
I don't know
just
if you also want to look at the fountain later, just to make sure.
well, I think we're done. We can go look at the fountain, right?
You see Russ like kind of like comes back in, like he realizes when like a thing isn't like really for him, he just happens to be present. He kind of turns back in. Yeah, we can definitely go look at the fountain.
Yeah, but maybe you should stay away from it. Weird things keep happening around it.
Yeah, maybe
Or at least like have one of us with you if you're gonna touch the
I
fountain.
also might have accidentally thrown water on someone, so should probably avoid that area for a minute.
Hmm. So you're gonna get in another fight. Okay. Okay.
Offer more sincere apologies.
I'll watch that one since I didn't get to watch you with Thor.
I'm not trying to fight anyone.
So are we just going to look at the fountain?
Or you can come with us. We can just like try to avoid the person. If you want.
I feel like I should be there.
Yeah, sounds good on my end. And you see a hand land on Russ's shoulder,
Oh no.
and
Uh,
a young man leans in. I am so incredibly sorry. I'm just trying to jump in before. If there's going to be a tidal wave like last time, I wanted to go in yesterday, but then everybody was doing it, and that I
hmm.
didn't want to. Anyways, before anyone else, if that's going to happen again, God forbid, good luck. I got a new sword and I really have to try that out. Would you be willing to first of all? And Russ looks over and like pats this guy's hand. Of course, you should get to try out your fancy little sword first of all. Russ pulls himself up.
Oh boy.
You guys could go ahead and I could finish this up. No offense. I'm sure it will take a normal amount of time.
What's on the way? We could just watch and then go.
Sure. And then everybody would be aware that Russ is going in for his first fight of the evening. And
Already
heads
started.
over heads over with this young man who has like a bit of a pep in his step. There's some people that it seems it's for fun. It is not for status. It'd be great if they won. The status would be astounding. But it's people who are looking for a good time or to try out something. On the first night, there was that wizard's apprentice who just needed to experience combat.
Yeah.
This guy got a cool new sword.
Yeah.
And this is a way to use that sword safely without anybody dying. And what a time to be alive. um, and they make their way over and he pulls out this sword and it looks like it's made of crystal. It is gorgeous, an astounding beautiful blade. You can even hear Russ whistle a little bit when he sees it. And both of them prepare however they're going to prepare, which is Russ just kind of tightening and adjusting his armor to make sure it is set. And both of them enter into the circle. There is that lull. And then combat commences. And this blade illuminates brightly in the space. And it is like they are fighting kind of like on the sun. It is a bright and hard to watch combat. But it begins to take place. Who's coming over for a bit of watching the fight?
Are the Underdark folk watching the fight?
You see that Queen Thruly and her companions are watching the fight. The others are not.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
are still out and about.
Right. Yeah.
What about Mirror Dress and cohort?
You can see that they've changed their positioning slightly and are in a position where they can see the fight, but they're not going over to stand in the crowd, but they have a view of it.
Roshan will head to steal some of that view.
Okay.
Nana's going to head in that direction. While she is walking towards the fight grounds, she's looking around to see if she spots Fen. If she does, she kind of wants to go over, maybe stand near him for a bit. If she spots Ro first, she'd like to go and stand near them instead for a bit.
Fen, did you say you were going to watch the fight?
Fenn's gonna watch the fight from wherever he can, but he's trying to keep an eye on the uh Queen's consort Kisharl or whatever his title is.
Kisharl, yeah.
Yeah. So trying to keep an eye on both at the same time if possible. Like personally interested in the fight, but also knowing that there's a job to be done. So if there's an opportunity to, you know, to observe Ide Kisharl, he would like to do that as well.
Okay. And also you'll get different amounts of information the closer you get to them. So currently from like a safe distance, you'll get some info. From a close distance, you'll get probably a good bit of info.
And they're not in the group that like approach to go watch the fight, right? That's
No.
okay.
And there's still like a good number of people still milling about. It's 50-50 on if people go to watch the fights or not. And Russ just did so many. Now the novelty of it has died. But you are able to keep tabs. Hey, Nana, you see both of them at the same time.
Neat. Okay. All right. Fine. In that case, Nana's going to go stand close to Roshan. And I think she's going to look for an opportunity where not much of anyone is paying much attention to her or to Ro. Just in order to lean in and say, there's something rather important I'd like to talk with you about when you've got a moment. The sooner would be the better. I don't want to step on your toes, of course, but...
Uh, I think Roshan is going to just use telepathy to reply and say, what is it you need to say?
He knows that she can't respond telepathically, and that she does not have sending of her own.
Yeah, if it
Okay.
takes a hot minute, then
It's something I'm hesitant to air in the open.
then Roshan will say, then let me in, and we'll cast Detect Thoughts.
Okay. Nana
And-
will permit it.
And say, I'm kind of in your head right now. I'm getting vague feelings, but I need you to put them in order for me.
Okay. So Nana does her best to order the anxiety-riddled jumble that is her poor little head. It's
Roll
a mess in
intelligence
there.
for me, Nana.
Cool. Neat.
Because
That
you're
should
trying to
be-
now organize surface thoughts in your mind to
Okay.
make sense to a person going through it.
Okay, all right. Just straight intelligence. All right, we'll see what happens. Ba-doop. The total is 10.
Okie dokie. So you begin to lay out these thoughts in what order you can. I'm going to ask you politely as a DM,
Mm-hmm.
if there is a thought that comes to Nana's mind, unsavory or not, I'd like one to slip to the front.
Ooh.
Okay.
Just
Pertaining
one,
to...
anything. It's pertaining
Anything.
to probably the topic.
Yeah. The
So
biggest...
you will lose a slip at some point. It is up to you. I am not asking for details. So lay out your thoughts.
Okay. So, Nana focuses in on Fen focuses in on the interaction that she saw between him and Kareen that interrupted the conversation that she had with him. I think it was night 1. It may have been night 2 of the party. It's a little fuzzy for me. And tries to really hone in on the detail of just the abruptness of the break of Fen's concentration. Just really tries to hammer home to Roshan how wrong the moment felt despite all appearances. And then she thinks forward to Fen having that conversation with Kareen. The one about the game, where he would give himself up. No questions asked. If he was caught, no mention made of Kareen's involvement. She moves forward, and I think she stumbles across the point that morning where she wanted to talk to Fen about this whole situation with Nix and Roe, and had to stop herself because she couldn't let Fen know that a wish is in play if he might be compromised by someone who would hurt him. So that comes through. And it's a jumbled, worried, frightened mess. And a fear surfaces that if something should happen, if it is true, what she fears has happened, then Fen is going to be much worse than he was after Bragi, after the Temple of Odin, after he lost Nettle. She's very afraid. She is mortally, deeply afraid.
I think Roshan, when she kind of spirals, he tries to get her back on track by saying, what can we do now?
She purposefully directs her attention to the fact that there was nothing she herself could find at fault with Kareen and how she spoke to Fen, how she handles herself in the party. She is perfect. She is without reproach. She is blemishless. And Nana knows that's not true. And she can't see it. And she needs Roshan to help her see it. She needs him very badly. She can't do it.
So does she want Roshan to keep an eye on Kareen?
She's not sure if it would be better to focus on Kareen, who will be under a lot of attention, or on Fen, who might be doing sneaky things for Kareen again, for a game, maybe. And drawing attention to him might also be dangerous. She's been going over all of these risk-reward combinations for hours from the looks of these thoughts.
Well, which one would you like to keep an eye on? And I'll keep an eye on the other one. And if you've got any idea on something else that can be done, let me know. Which one do you want?
I know Fen. I'll mind Fen. You know people better than I do. Can you mind her?
It shouldn't be too hard. All I have to do is keep my eyes out for a red dress. And then Roshan looks across the crowd and doesn't find a
Yeah.
red dress.
Yeah.
He's like,
I-
oh
and, like,
God.
Did more than just Fen out of all of us see Kareen as we were coming in, as we were filtering in? Was she visible?
If you want to like look for Kareen, you're welcome to. A red dress did not stand out to you as is normally her marker.
Sure. In fact, if Roshan is keeping an eye out, let's see. Your perception is what? Mine's plus 12.
I have a +8, and I
Ah!
rolled a 5. So
Then, in that case, I rolled a 26.
Yeah, Corrine is currently not wearing red. Takes you a second, not too long.
Yeah. Okay.
She is just wearing an outfit completely comprised of pearls, and she seems to be walking around the party and talking to people. You see, occasionally she glances over as people gather for the fight, but she herself does not join the crowd and continues walking around and interacting.
Rather than looking at Kareen or pointing or anything else, Nana will describe the direction she's moving in. Like she's focusing on that with her present and surface thoughts, where she saw her passing by and the impression of her dress, and as close a good impression of her appearance as possible.
Roshan will raise a glass toward Nana, take a peek in that direction, to hopefully get eyes on her, and then take a sip and be all casual.
Yeah,
I
Corine's
believe
not
Nana's
hiding.
got her own drink.
She's over there.
Damn, she looks good.
Yeah, Babes is
That's the
flawless.
unfair thing. She's gorgeous. Okay, it's not.
Nana's spiraling thoughts about this woman.
I think
yeah.
Roshan's gonna
Yeah.
just like
Yep.
shut off the
And then
detect
it's like,
thoughts
and
and
detect thoughts is
Fine.
done. Thank you for your
Nana
time.
feels that, and she's like, "Yep." And she'll take another drink. Thank you very much, bro. Thank you.
Roshan will nod and probably sigh as he sees Russ stepping onto the field, like, well, begins
Here we go
again.
again. I can only hope that this fellow isn't champing at the bit for. At least he looks more casual, right? He doesn't look like he's like out for blood.
Which one?
Well,
it's just
neither,
two
really.
giddy young men getting ready to
Yeah.
fight each other.
They look like they're just about to have a grand old time.
Yeah, I hope that there's no compound fractures.
I hope not either.
And it is the sound of clashing metal as the combat commences. At this time, Fen, go ahead and give me a perception check with disadvantage if you're trying to gather intel at this time.
Okay, how do I roll disadvantage?
Just roll twice and then pick if
right.
if it's
There
easier.
is a way to do it too.
All right.
It doesn't matter. You can right click on it.
Apparently they're both 27.
Well, there you
Wow.
go.
All right.
Here's what I'll give you first.
Can I tell you what I'm looking for specifically?
Give me
or
one more roll first. Give me an.
Okay.
Actually, this would be for closer, so irrelevant.
Okay. All right.
What are you looking for?
I am looking for around the queen. Does it seem like he is her main protector, or does she have like primary lines of defense? And also, how fancy is his gear? Does it look like there's anything like? Does he have like a walking stick or something that seems personal, like it's not part of his costume, like a thing that he just has?
Okay. So I'm going to go through. Honestly, you hit my bulletin points, so we're all in a good place. We're gonna go through assumptions you can make by what you're looking at and things you see. Here's the first assumption you can make with information that you have. You can assume that both of them are being watched at all times by invisible guards. You are aware that these guards exist, and I'm just going to say everybody knows, because by golly, keeping up with who knows what is a pain in my dick. That the people of the Underdark also brought guards as well, and that they are out and about. The vibe you get from him is that his focus is on her, that he is in his mind or in position, perhaps, guarding her. He's like half a step behind her as they walk,
So
wherever they go.
he appears to truly love her. This is not a political marriage, or at least he cares that she's carrying his kid. Like,
You can roll insight if you like.
I,
Or you can
will
just be
try.
like, I
Yeah.
feel this. This is my vibe.
Yeah, I'll roll it. The hell with it. I got a 3, so I
Yeah.
guess I feel what I feel.
Yeah, you feel what you feel about it. But he seems to be right on her heels, focused on her at all times. He also very much so is marked by her with her handprint across his face in white. When you look at him, he is wearing pretty thick but simple looking armor, just like very straightforward, but it does have a ceremonial vibe to it. You believe that this is nice armor. It is an important armor. He does not wear this all the time.
So, can I ask, because it's been like, 6 or 7 weeks since you described this guy, what race is he? What lineage is he?
So they are both drow.
Okay.
He has pale purple skin, mid-length white hair that's slicked back. His armor is white, platinums, silvers. He has gray eyes, the white handprint across his face. But you can't, at this distance, you can see that there are other bits to his outfit, but they are smaller. You'd have to move in close to get details of, like, is he wearing jewelry or is that paint? You can't tell from your distance.
Okay. So
Did I answer your questions at this juncture?
you did. You answered everything that Fen was looking for at this juncture, and Fen will stand where he's standing and watch the rest of Russ's fight. And you know, where are they between, like, positioned relative to both Fen and like the room where you get the drinks, like the little bar enclave, like alcove?
So are you putting yourself near that? Like you're like, I'm near there.
If I were to walk to there, are they in my path somewhere?
No, they would be diagonal the opposite way. So
Okay.
you're kind of even with them. You'd go this way. They would be
All right.
diagonal from
So
there.
Fen's just gonna watch the rest of the fight, and then he'll figure out what he wants to do after that.
And 36 seconds later, the fight comes to a conclusion.
Cool.
As most fights do.
Yeah, thereabouts.
With Russ standing in the center, wiping blood off of his chin as it looks like he's like busted his lip a little bit.
Oh,
He looks like he went through it, but not terrible. You guys have seen him way
not
worse.
like yesterday.
Yeah, he still has all of his neck intact. And
That's a big
he kind of waits for this guy to wake up, helps him stand, and then exits the circle. And everybody does a little clap, including Jin Lee, who stands in the circle and gives little claps.
So when the focus is most there, like the bright blade is extinguished and everybody's clapping, Fenn's gonna peel one of those stickers off of his forearm. He's gonna try and put it sticky side out on the inside of his left palm. He
Okay.
just wants it there, and he's gonna start making a circuit around towards the people that he's looking for.
Okay. You start walking.
So-
Yes, Nana.
Just if somebody were to be casually observing Fen at this juncture, just from sort of across the way, what sort of situation might they be party to, just observationally speaking?
It probably looks like a guy watching a fight. You can roll
Mhm.
insight for me real quick, just to
Sure.
see how much I'm giving in this moment.
Of course.
As somebody who's also just watching Fen and is not Fen and gives you the bird's eye view.
Alrighty. Excellent. And this was insight, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Lovely, lovely. 23.
Okay. Fen, give me a sleight of hand. Just sleight of hand real fast for me.
I might actually catch him out at something for once.
Well, that ain't gonna be good. 7.
Okay. You can see that he is standing there watching the fight, occasionally looks around, touches his wrist, touches his palm. The fight ends. He starts walking.
Touches his wrist and touches his palm. Can't think of anything Nana would compare that to. Right?
So?
Interesting. And he doesn't move until the fight's done.
Yep, he stays till the sword is diminished, and
Okay.
then he walks away.
Nana is going to do her best to mill towards food or some kind of waiter passing by in order to keep Fen in a periphery for her. She's not trying to stay close up on him. She's just kind of in orbit.
Can I get
Okay. Mhm.
one more detail from the DM?
Yeah.
Does homie have gloves on?
Does homie have gloves on? He does not. And I'll actually give you this now that you are moving closer and looking at him. And this is something that you probably would have been able to see. His exposed bits of skin. His face. So basically his whole head, the top part of his neck. So just a sliver of neck. His shoulders, about like a hand's width of exposed skin about here. And his hands.
Okay, thank you.
So, homie, not wearing gloves. Cold hands at this party. Maybe it's warm in the Underdark, unclear. So I honestly think Fen is so hyper focused on this. Nana, give me stealth with advantage. We are not using Fen's passive. We are using a set number in my mind to feeling stalked, but being very distracted from the idea that he could be being stalked in this moment.
Yeah. And it was stealth advantage?
Stealth advantage. Yes, please.
Okie dokie. Well, that is 19.
Okay. Fen, it's not like you're looking around for Nana. Nana's expert is stealthing it, rolling around. How could anyone know?
I'm no Gorbjorn now. I would never be a pretender to such a throne.
If I saw Nana, I would feel more comfortable.
You'd be like, oh, hey, but
Yeah.
Nana
Oh, yeah,
at
it's
this
not.
juncture is kind of staying out of your line of sight. So you don't know she's there right now. Fen has no reason to feel any sort of way if Nana was there, but Nana feels a sort of way, it seems. You begin to make your way over. Go ahead and give me another perception check. This is for your close-up perception check, Fen. Just to see if anything else stands out to you.
24.
24. Okay. So you did see something on his hand, and you are realizing it is kind of just dabbings of this white paint that are on his fingers, and you're like, okay, that's not a ring. You do see in his hair a silver cuff. There is only one braid in this man's hair, and there's only one cuff. You get the feeling of that doesn't get put back in a closet. That's the energy you get from something so lonely in that place, but so important, is he doesn't take that out. But he also doesn't take off his skin. So really it's you got a couple options. Not a lot of options, but a couple. Those are the things that you currently pick up on. Meanwhile, the fight concludes. Russ makes his way over. So we're going to look at a fountain, or I immediately forgot what we're doing.
Yes.
Right. And I'm avoiding someone.
Yeah, who are we avoiding, Keld?
There was I'll describe the woman and the angry kobold.
Oh,
I'll keep my eyes out.
all right. Keld, I'd love you to roll stealth for me to see if you can just kind of hide behind Russ, basically, even though you are at least
That
a
was the
head
plan.
taller.
I'm with this guy.
At least you don't have disadvantage at this time because you do not have your armor on.
Yeah.
Mm.
+0. So 11.
Sweet.
Okay. Okay. You enter into the space. It is the currently at this time, Alder is singing lyrics. He is making words and is not openly weeping. That is where Alder is in time and space.
They're probably
People
sad
are
words though.
yeah, they're probably very sad, or at least the energy is sad and the words are upbeat, and it's very confusing. But you enter into the space. There is the fountain with its newly formed divots. There are people talking and dancing and drinking. You guys go to the fountain.
So what am I looking
So
for?
I saw something in it earlier, so I reached to touch it, and then it just grabbed me. I know this sounds strange because I can't see it now, but do you see anything?
Do I see anything?
Nyx, roll investigation for me.
Yeah. We good, I'm sure.
In other words, Nyx doesn't see anything.
Yeah.
It's a 6.
Yeah, that's
The fountain.
Russ would give help, but he is not proficient in
Mm.
investigation and will not be
Yeah.
helping at this time.
I brought
I'll
the
just
wrong people.
I'll fully stick my hand in the water trying to look for things.
Yeah, you just stick your hand into the water. The only thing you find, and this is after a bunch of people watch you stick your hand into the fountain, and Keld being next to this fountain for a second time while somebody puts their hand in the fountain, you can feel where the water comes from or where it recycles. It's like the statue is in this very large basin of sorts, and that's where the water collects. And then if you put your hand kind of more forward, there's sort of a lip, and you assume that's where the water goes. So you found the lip, but it's not incredibly wide.
There's nothing in here. I don't. Every time I come, it's gone.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. I don't know. It's so weird. I don't like it, but I guess
I'm neither.
maybe it's a good sign you don't see it.
Would be worse if we both were experiencing whatever that was. So
Probably.
we can ask our dad
All
tomorrow.
right. Yeah.
Feel like
All right. Well,
take, what he can't say no to both of us.
yeah. I won't let him.
We got your back. We got this. If anything,
Sorry to interrupt.
you can throw your pot on the ground in front of him. That'll get his attention.
That seems incredibly disrespectful, and I feel bad if the first time that this man meets me, all of you start throwing shit. I listen, if that's what you want to do, that is certainly fine. It's not like I have parent experience. So if that's the way it's supposed to go, by all means, don't take me into account.
We'll,
I
we'll
will try not to do that.
yeah. If he answers right away, we'll think about it.
Mm.
Can I all right, just mull this over. Maybe I get introduced before the interrogation. So like I get there on a
Oh, yeah.
high,
Yeah,
and
that
then
makes
you can do
sense.
your thing, and then I'm not at fault.
That makes sense.
I just want to make a good impression for the in-laws.
God, it's so important.
I mean, this is my first dad, so this is exciting.
I mean, your boss is kind of like your dad, but
So
I
did you
think
want
he'll
to go
like
get
you.
like a drink or dance, or you can see that like does something. You don't know what exactly, but it's like, okay,
Uh-oh.
moving on.
we'll think
On to the
about that
next.
later.
Is it dad or daddy?
Unclear.
Oh no.
Oh no,
Um,
we're already here. Might as well dance.
sure.
Also, we'll take a look around. Is Russ's ex in the room? Linnea?
I'm gonna roll a luck check for Linnea.
God.
She is in the room.
Wow. Before
Hmm.
we, so are you going to, you said that you didn't know if you were going to dance with her. Are you going to dance with her? Or I could go offer to dance with her? Because I feel like somebody should dance with her at least once at this party.
Oh,
She's having a rough time.
and he kind of then pinpoints Linnea. Oh, well, I didn't want to be disrespectful to you and dance with somebody else. Unless that's okay with you?
It's just dancing. I can do it. I know how to dance the dance you taught me.
I did teach you.
And you and Keld could dance.
I do feel sort of bad because on the parent talk, her parents also died.
Yeah,
Mm.
If you are okay, I'm fine dancing with her.
I'm fine.
Okay. And he takes your hand and kisses it. I'll be back in exactly one song.
I'll be in this fountain.
Your hand has been in the fountain the whole time. You have yet to remove your hand from the fountain. And
Just in
Russ
case.
leaves the two of you. Like no weird sensations, just it's cold. This is a cold
Mhm.
fountain. It has a giant ice cube in it. It's freezing.
Monitoring this fountain.
Russ does also looks back at you one more time and is like, okay, was like, I'm gonna give you one more, like you can tap
This
out
is
and I
fine.
will be fine and I am good. Is given no sign that he should not, and goes over to Linnea and they speak for a moment, and he does like a low bow and extends a hand out to her. And she honestly seems like a little shocked. And she takes his hand.
I don't think she was expecting that.
I don't get what the big deal is.
And you watch two people dance who have danced together before, who have done this dance many a time. Second nature, no stumbling. They move beautifully together. But that's what dancing is. And you can feel Alder starting to waver a bit while he sings. He seems to falter a little bit and then pulls back in. You can also see that there are two enraptured guests watching Alder. two men in black suits, one with long blonde hair, one with shorter, curlier, dark hair, vampire boyfriends. That's what their names are now. Names are irrelevant. And they just stand like shoulder to shoulder, like they're looking at like a large piece of art on the wall and watch him while he performs. What are you guys doing? Actually, you know what? I'll let you guys linger in that. Uh, and as people get their missions or party ideas and festivities in mind, that is where we are going to take our break. It'll be however long it's gonna be. 10 minutes? Maybe. I'll see when everybody comes back. We're not going to stop recording. Everybody get a snack and a drink. Oh, and the magic of editing will be starting in a second. Magic, and we're back. Hey, everybody. I hope you had a good break. That was exactly 2 seconds long. We are on episode 162 of On the Backs of Gods, and we are in the middle of a fun little party the last night.
We're all having a good time. We're
and
having
so far,
such a good time.
I've done nothing to incur any bad times.
Nope.
I'm just here having a good time. And speaking of good times, Roshan, speaking of good times for all, Roshan, Nana leaves your side to go be really sneaky following Fen. And you are now just standing in the space as the crowd starts to slowly disperse. What are you doing?
I think Roshan's finally going to wander toward the half orc in the really pretty dress and her hot friends.
Okay. Can you paint me a picture of the Roshan that is approaching this group?
I think the fight happens and Roshan and Nana watch while deep in each other's brains. So he zones out for a little bit, comes back to reality. He's been holding a drink for too long. It's gone now,
It's a
and
bit
I
flat.
think he sets it down on the ground before approaching these people who he'd hoped to raise a glass to, but
Oh, surely
oh
he can
well.
find a waiter along the way.
I think he was pretty close at this point, so
Okay.
uh, he'll just head on over with eyes for the one in the mirror outfit.
All right. It is very pointed who you are walking towards in this moment. And it's sort of like if you imagine a pack of wolves over a carcass that had their attention, which was their conversation, and a deer stumbled into the clearing. 4 sets of eyes immediately snap in your direction as you enter into this space. You have put yourself into this space with them, and all eyes are quietly on you.
I think Roshan is prepared for this, but still he can feel his heartbeat go a little faster. And he gives everyone in the group a look, and says to the one with the mirrored dress, it is such a shame that I couldn't see you until tonight. I would have made my way over to introduce myself to a group of beautiful people. My name's Roshan.
It's the slow curl of the lips and these silver tusks that protrude from the bottom lip as she watches you. And you see from any angle that the pupils of her eyes are silvered. You don't know if it's magic or if there's some fancy little contacts you could put in or if they just look like that all the time. The others, you watch as they everyone's looking at you. These 3 other people, the Aarakocra, the half elven man in the wheelchair, and a human presenting woman in an outfit of night sky. Turn their focus towards the woman in mirrors, as if everybody is perceiving themselves through a big, beautiful mirror in the space, and are looking to pick up their cues. What are we doing here? And the woman stares at you for a moment, just this little turn of the lip. Let's start this out with, I would love persuasion. Let's just get the ball rolling. See how we start this. First steps.
21.
Okay.
Oh, I'm even better. A 24.
She looks to you and stands a good few inches taller than you. Actually, I feel like everybody in this group is taller than you except the man in the wheelchair. But so it's just like these towering bodies, just like she looks to you and takes you in for a moment. And she extends a hand.
Is it an extend to shake hands or an extend to kiss the back of it?
It is an extend to shake hands.
Roshan will shake her hand with a firm grip and say, your outfit is truly remarkable. Is this something that you've made, or did you just spend a pretty penny asking somebody in town to make it?
There's another pause. She is smiling. She seems pleasant at this juncture and like is like watching you talk. Sorry, it's every time a message pops up, my brain's like message, and I'm like, focus. You're a bad bitch. She watches you talk. I've made something like it before, but nothing this intricate. I asked somebody if they could make it for me. My name's Aubryn. And what do you want?
I wanted to have a conversation with what looked to be the most interesting people at the party.
You hear the man in the wheelchair. He's not wrong. And kind of like raises a glass in your direction and drinks from it. So you're just here to have a little chit chat, Roshan.
I'm not asking for anything in return, but I I do so love to talk about things. Like, um, and Roshan will just give a slightly coy look about and then in a whispered tone say, like, did you hear that just before the party there was a plague of rats up on this property?
I can't roll that dice anymore. I can't see it in the dark. How interesting. I had heard that there was an altercation on premises, that last minute preparations were needed to adjust the topiaries. But I had not heard of rats.
Wouldn't surprise me if they also needed to repair the pond. That's where I hear the rats came from, along with some gem munching elementals.
That's interesting. And she kind of just like slowly turns her head and looks, and you watch as like half of her face begins to disappear at certain angles as she looks around the space. Usually people don't come and tell me things unless they want something. And you came to me, and you are currently throwing snowballs at a shit brick house. Is there a particular reason we're throwing snowballs at such an opulent house?
Ah, that's a really good question.
Mm.
I think the reason is I haven't had quite as much fun at this party as I'd hoped to, and looking for the bright spots where I can.
Huh. I see. I'm not sure how much joy I can bring into your party experience, but I'm good at talking, depending on the scenario, of course. I could tell you what everybody might know about you.
I'd be interested in hearing if it's at least if it's nicer than what the Lady of the Lake had to say about me.
For some
I'm just
reason,
kidding. You can say it all.
oh, perfect. For some reason, though, I can never bring myself to walk over to that lake. Maybe next year. Let's see. I pride myself in my memory, and it's easier in two different camps. One of those camps being people that have always been here. And that's just sort of like knowing history and memorizing names and places and dates. And that's easy enough. And then there's the people in the middle that get a bit foggy for me. And then there's the new people. And those ones are also a bit easier to remember because they're interesting enough. And you're from the West. You were born on the coast. And you moved to Galunder with your mother and your sister. You live with your aunt who owns an inn. You were familial in a sense with Chief Hemming's son. What else? There's really big gaps because you get interesting very recently. Very recently. There's a month that strikes me where you can get nothing. There's a month of your adult life where, by golly, you're not in town, you're not accounted for in any other town. Who knows where you may have gone? And I have my guesses, but I'm not here to speculate. That's not what I do. That's just some things aren't my business unless somebody pays for it to be my business, and that hasn't happened yet. So lucky day. After this, in this month, around the end of it, you return home with a corpse, and 3 more chiefs drop dead. 2 of them from towns that you were in, and it's really interesting that nobody really pinned you for that. What a good piece of blackmail that would have been. A shame nobody picked it up, and now I think it's sort of passed. Honestly, it probably would have been more of an issue if the Jarl didn't survive that assassination attempt in a town you were also in. Very fun. What
Would you
else?
believe that I was no more than tangentially involved in any of those?
I think if you killed a chief I'd know about it.
From what you told me so far, I think so too.
What else? And you could see it's almost like she's flipping through a book in her mind. You're actually like watching her eyes, almost like she's skimming words on a page. Um, um, Big stuff. West is in shambles. You go eastward. You are looking for your sister, who was involved with 2 copper carts and then became involved with Olavi, and then was arrested at the library and then was bailed out of jail. And you can thank your boyfriend, Chief Egil, for this information because when people go sniffing around, it's hard for me not to notice that. So I had to scoop that up while I was around as well. Yeah, probably the most
Now,
interesting part is the dating of this chief who is not on your arm. Also fun and interesting, I suppose.
now, where does someone like you come across all this information? It's like you read my book at the library.
Well, if you have a book there, I suppose I should go check it out.
Still a work in
I
progress.
I am
Either
hmm?
I'm not allowed back there.
either you're one of the most extraordinarily intelligent people that I've ever met, or you've taken some kind of shine to me, and that, forgive my humbleness, I don't feel like I'm worthy of that kind of shine. So I'm leaning toward the first. So are you omniscient? Do you know just about everything? What's your secret?
My secret is that I have made friends on every corner of this continent and am in quite well with the flies, who are truly founts of information, and the honey that they work with is also a bit helpful. The many connections I made along the way, the flies and I parted ways happily and on good terms. The woman with blonde hair leans in. The honey refers to people that are working with the flies, people they advise. That's the honey.
Roshan will look at everyone or look at her and nod and say, excuse my manners, but I'm Roshan, and what are all the rest of your names?
You see that, like, now that they've realized, all right, we are almost in a chill conversation, a chill normal conversation. The Aarakocra woman, the Aarakocra person, leans forward and does a bit of a bow, but not too far because there are eggs in their hair. And one of the birds like jumps out and kind of flutters around before landing back in when they straighten back up. My name is Fooler. A pleasure. Fooler shakes your hand. The man in the wheelchair extends a hand out to shake. Caldir, a pleasure. And the woman with long blonde hair extends a hand to be kissed. I'm Vice.
Roshan greets them all like they'd like to be treated, and also is just kind of turning on a little bit of the quiet charm, and just a little bit of glassy eyes and quiet smiles, quiet flirting.
You can see that Auburn is looking around. Are you here for, first off, I guess this is being the opposite of humble. I don't think you're here just to know a shining light of a person. I'm sure you want something, as most people do when they walk over to this circle. It takes, for some people, it seems hard to access, even though I think we are very inviting as a group. They are not. The energy is so exclusive that nobody could approach. And the idea of doing so is a task in and of itself. But she looks around. Is it for you, or is it because your companion is currently the most recent, what's the best word for it? Boy toy, I guess, of this brick house you're throwing snowballs at?
I hadn't thought to come ask for any information regarding that, and I'd hardly want to put myself in debt. But boy toy is a good word for it. I've known Fen for several years and doesn't get puppy dog eyes like that, so
Well, he's not the only boy who follows her around at these parties.
are any of them the other boys here this year?
I don't think so. Usually don't see them again.
One wonders why that is, but I think conclusions could be drawn.
I think so. I think it's very apparent. Either she loves a good piece of arm candy, and this one is a toss-up on, I guess, personal preference. Or there's a purpose.
I never guess that someone as powerful as that doesn't have a purpose for everyone they talk to.
See, the thing is, though, you've seen Otis. That's also a man I wouldn't imagine walking around with that. Maybe that's her type. Defying expectation. Though the guy last year was very hot. Like very, very hot.
I mean, Fen's also very, very hot to Kareen.
Of course. If you're into the woodsman aesthetic.
That's been coming back around for a few years now.
That's very true. Maybe I should catch up on that.
Does anyone want me to introduce them to him?
You can see her thinking, like, do I want to go talk to this man, and will it be beneficial to me? I don't think he'll be as giving as you are. So I think I'm good.
You're right. I think he's a little too wrapped around someone's finger to have eyes for anyone else tonight.
No. He's all Corrine's, and I won't step on her toes.
I think Roshan wanted to make another joke or light banter about how hot this group is. But Josh can't come up with it, and Roshan is very smart and charismatic.
Roshan is very smart and witty, so there is another joke that exists here, and everybody is appreciative of it.
Everyone loved it.
Everyone thought it was really good. 10 out of 10. Everyone's having a great time and feels very flattered.
Yeah.
We can all be on a roll because one of the guys has a wheelchair. So.
Yeah.
Fucking super hot.
I think Roshan then asks, where is it that you all reside when you're not partying here?
Well, the Aarakocra leans forward and kind of walks with like sort of like almost like their head is trying to like balance in the space. And you don't know if that's just how they naturally walk or if having this headpiece made from their hair on top of their head is just really fucking them up. Like they have just not perfected this yet, or that's just how they walk. Well, most of us are travelers. Most of us are going around and doing things. There is no one spot that is home. Mostly we travel, though, in the east. But if needs must, you cross the hammer.
Well, I hope that should we end up in the same place again on our travels, you'll let me buy you a drink.
Hmm. It's kind of like a OU sort of hand gesture. Well, Roshan, I hate to be the transactional one, but do you have anything else for me? It's weird to say I'm on the clock, but I am a little bit. I am self-employed, but a little on the clock.
If you want to point someone out, I'll let you know if there's anything I know about them. But I am rather new on this in the East, so.
Well, my questions would probably be about new people and how willing are you to drop details about people you keep appearing in town with?
Depends on the details.
You know
The
what I mean.
details. Um, what does Roshan think that she wants?
She would want the secrets, the stories, the important things. She doesn't want to know their favorite color or maybe where they're from and how we met. That doesn't mean shit to her. She would want interesting, important gossip.
Can you go to someone else while I think of interesting, important gossip?
Sure. Let me think about how I'm going to talk shit about all of you. One moment. Can you believe? So Roshan continues his conversation with his new friends, and I think I am going to veer back over to Fen. Fen, as you have made your way closer, you can see that. Let me put the right paper on top. Something you notice as people go to approach and mostly interact with Bela, the queen. If anybody reaches towards her to take her hand or kiss it or do some sort of introduction that involves touching, Ide steps forward and does it for her. Nobody touches her. It goes through him.
Ben was kind of counting on that. Ben would like to approach her and he would take off his headdress and like he's not even gonna fuck around. He's not gonna chance this. He's got this thing on the inside of his palm.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go and do the faux pas of like kissing the baby and wait for this guy to
Here I
like
come.
wait for this guy to stop. Like wait for this guy to stop him. Fen being acutely aware of inappropriate touch.
Yeah.
Like knows that somebody's gonna step in and this guy is gonna be the first one to do it. And when he does so, Fen just wants to like slap that on his palm, like just back of his hand, like when he gets to get caught, that he wants to slap Ida on the back of his hand, uh, and make apologies, back off and make apologies for,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So you approach and you go to kiss the baby, and you hope that there are some similarities between above ground and below ground, and that this is not the optimal introduction that they were hoping for, and we're waiting for someone to kiss the baby. And as you lean in to do this, you watch like clockwork. Ide steps in front of her to stop you, and he goes to open his mouth to make introductions, as you watched him do with everybody who attempted to speak to her. And the ground begins to rumble. You feel the earth shake under your feet. And out of the corner of your eye, all of you can see this. Everyone can feel the floor begin to shake. You see a light begin to emanate from the trunk of the center tree. And as the ground shakes, you watch as like the people up in the tree just like full on like sloth hold on to these branches so that they are not shook off and fall to the ground. People who are hanging from the silks are now beginning to like sway in place as this light grows bright, and you watch as a silhouette of a figure starts to step through. What are you guys doing?
Nana wants to get eyes on where that light is coming from and what's happening there.
You can see that the tree is split open and somebody is walking out of it.
And is there any optimal way she can get eyes on who that is?
It is a silhouette of a person at this juncture.
Okay, she's... Okay. Going to go towards Fen to catch his eye, direct him towards this thing. Like, obviously this is a thing we should look at. Yeah? Question mark?
This is all happening in a 6-second time period.
Right.
Yeah.
I am not. This is
So-
like a minute amount of time.
I can tell you what Fenn's going to do. Fenn is going to recognize this is happening, but also like, I got a thing to do, and he's going to stumble towards Ide and slap that on his hand, and then look around for who's got a ranged weapon on them. Like, does anybody have anything that resembles a weapon?
Okay. So I would like you to make me a sleight of hand check. You'll be rolling at advantage because Ide's focus goes to the tree.
All right, sleight of hand.
Saved by Deus Ex Diablo.
It's either a dirty 20 or a dirty 21. 21's the higher of the two rolls.
I am going to be rolling for everyone who is looking in their direction. So every guard. So at this moment, I will be rolling for guards, which means I'll be rolling for Ide, and I will be rolling for the guards you cannot see.
Okay.
I'll check in a second if I want to roll for the queen, if she cares. If she is like, what the fuck's going on, and cares not for anything else. But everybody else's focus goes to her.
You already gave me advantage. I
Mhm.
wanted this to be a stumble when the ground trembled.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's
all right.
still sleight of hand.
It's not like a, I got you, bitch. Like,
Yeah, that's not what a
okay.
sleight of hand is. A sleight of
Okay.
hand is a stealthy little hand gesture, which you
All
did.
Cool.
They will be rolling with disadvantage because their focus is towards their queen and this possible threat. Okay. All right. Okay. And you stick this on kind of at the joint of the hand. You kind of sort of grab him by the wrist and are like, you slap it on there. It's like, help, I'm falling. As this tree makes this terrible ripping sound as this light begins to emit from it. Nana, you spent your time going over to Fen. Fen, you spent your time finishing your mission. What's everybody else doing?
Yeah. Watching this tree.
Yeah, I think Roshan's
Just
trying to
watching
look
it.
unbothered while his pulse quickens.
His eyes scream, but his face casual, coy.
Yep,
Maybe
exactly.
head towards Rust because maybe he'd know if this is normal.
Is
For
this
weird
a
things
thing
to
that they
happen.
do?
Keld, what are you doing?
I think Keld's just standing his ground, watching this, instantly guessing what
Uh-huh.
this could possibly be. Just yeah, I'm not gonna approach, but I'm not gonna retreat.
There is a moment where your hand like brushes to your side, and then you're like, I don't have armor on. I don't have any weapons on my person.
Yeah.
But you stand your ground kind of at the center, like at the entrance of this ballroom, which would be directly in eyesight of the tree as you stare it down. And you watch as this figure steps forward. A figure wearing purples and pinks. Pink sends their regards as Mood steps through the tree. Just
Oh, thank
flamboyant,
God!
large energy as
Oh,
they
thank
step
God!
Jesus
into the
Christ.
space and are followed by a parade. They are followed by a parade of performers and dancers, musicians, magicians, animals, carts with food, balloons, confetti, sounds and colors and shapes of all kinds.
This is a party.
A cacophony of sound and light, and it is a spectacle that immediately engulfs the courtyard. And bringing up the rear of this event as like they begin to like peel out into the courtyard and start to make like the circle around. That is their intent at this moment, is to do all the way around as a large parade, and bringing up the rear of this parade as you watch the edges of the tree slowly start to fade, that light beginning to dim. Bringing up the back is a lithe woman, beautiful, ethereal. She's dressed in white. She has a dark complexion accented with silver markings. She is shoeless, jewelless, medalless. It is only this white and sheer dress that drapes her body, and this train that follows behind it that goes back about 20 feet, just trailing behind her, this large train. She has tightly coiled black hair that bounces atop her head with each slow, measured step, like a cloud moving through the space as she walks. Her face is marked with silver, and her face is stoic, and it contrasts the parade that precedes her as she and her 20-foot train make their way out of the tree, and slowly, instead of following the parade, she circles around the tree enough to get her train out before she touches the side, and the fissure closes, and you watch as new growth begins to make its way up this fissure that was once there. And she stays for a moment looking at the tree, and then looks as if she's going to follow the parade. What are we doing? As adrenaline spikes and then goes back down aggressive.
Does Fen, just a yes or no, does Fen recognize this
Yes.
person? Okay. All right. Fen drops to his knees. His headdress already being off. Fen drops to a knee in the direction of that person and averts his eyes while taking reverent glances. That's it.
Because Nana is close to Fen and has successfully clocked this as not an invasion by the guard, thankfully. She turns her attention back to Fen pretty much as soon as she establishes this was not a threat, and sees him adopt this posture. Does she know the person that he's doing this towards? Does she know him? Does she know her?
I'm going to just go based off of appearance, no. And you watch as Queen Bela and Ide, you see that he like has like her arm fully like enwrapped, and he is like he had like blocked her off, and then you watch him like slump and be like, and he places a hand on her stomach, sees that you're on the ground, and is like, oh good, I don't have to interact with anyone, and kind of gives
Yay.
a quick bow in your direction before walking away with his queen. He's like, oh thank God, and
Interaction
and then just
averted.
goes.
Hooray! Okay.
And I'll just check in with the others as they see that this is just a big parade.
We're good then.
Yeah, there are the smells of new foods that have entered the space, like a smell of corn and butter.
Elda's
little-
interested.
One could say popped corn stand is being wheeled with the parade. It is just a bunch of interesting looking candies, some meats, fruit leathers looks to be on one cart, and this popped corn.
So a different reason to go get Russ, to
Yeah.
go to this parade.
And as you approach, you can see that Russ is laughing and like looks to Linnea and then gives like a finishing bow. Wasn't expecting that to be the end of the dance, but interesting enough. And kind of she nods and kind of gives a little bit of a curtsy, just a very gentle one. And she looks to you as you approach rapidly, changing your pace, like approaching like, and then approaching like, oh, and like just a real quick shift of emotion. As she looks to you and gives you a matching curtsy. Enjoy your evening.
You too,
And she's gonna walk away.
right?
You made
There's
a
new
face.
things out there.
Right? Let's go look at them. Keld, we're looking at new things as they get to Keld, and like he puts his hand like square on your back and kind of like leads you out
We're
into the
bringing him
courtyard.
with.
No more frumping in the fountain for you, sir.
But
Kind of
Fen is
already.
currently on his knees in this courtyard. Nana, yeah, you're like right next to him.
Just like, may I please ask? Nana is observing this series of events entirely from the outside.
Mhm.
She wants to figure out what she can put together out of what she knows about Fenn's behavior normally, because she knows him pretty well. To figure out what out of any of this seems suspicious, and then what seems just like maybe just something she hasn't seen him do.
I don't think Fen or I can help you just by looking.
I'd like to make a roll.
I
If I
don't
may.
have anything for you to
Is
roll
there
for.
nothing? No? Okay, cool. Neat. Okay, Nana will go over to Fen and I guess take a knee beside him.
Oh, good. You saw it too. That's the matron.
I
The-
haven't met her before.
You haven't met her. I saw it before you were even born. The reason the Briarheart doesn't have the corruption that the surrounding land did, the matron, that she is as close as there is to a goddess. I've told you about her before. I thought that she might be able to heal Nyx's affliction. That's the matron. I'm as sure of this as I am of anything else.
I believe you. I believe you.
I was a child, maybe 10, barely out of the crib. The last I saw her, but I could not forget that radiance. What is she doing here?
Well, close to God as she is, Alyona is here too.
They're not comparable figures
I'm not.
whatsoever. No,
I'm only saying in terms of
no,
power.
no. I understand. I
Sheer power,
understand.
influence, that sort of thing.
One is a warlord, and the other brings nothing but bounty and grace to the land that she touches. She bestows uh, protection wherever she walks. Uh, I I never thought I'd see her again in my life. Not the sort of thing that someone sees many times. She came and she blessed our village, and Briarheart has been, much closer to the valley than Galunda, but relatively safer. And she is why. I don't know why she's here amongst these people.
May she be the brightest light here. We can only hope.
She already has been. She makes the sword that Russ fought earlier pale in comparison. Honestly,
Can't disagree. She is radiant. Is there something that we should do? Should we offer some kind of, I don't know, greeting, offering?
we should we should approach her when it feels appropriate. I feel. Um,
What
uh,
is then? Do you know?
I don't. I don't know. I'm not even sure when I should stand. Honestly, I was a child when she came through last. I'm sure there are protocols surrounding this, the manners. I'm
Well,
not sure of
perhaps
them.
given given we're not at home and given perhaps we're the only ones giving her close to her full acknowledgement, let's rise for now. And if she asks that we genuflect again, then we will.
All right, and Finn will stand to his feet and he'll raise his arm up for Nana to take his arm, uh, and give her a little nod. Uh, Finn will put his ostentatious headdress back on.
She'll kind of help him adjust it because it kind of like slumps over one eye a little and catches a little bit on one ear and kind of nudges it back in place. And there you go. Very handsome.
I know we've met gods, um, gods that we thought were gone from the earth. That's as close as there was to one until we met the ones that we did.
Well, perhaps if she's as close to a god as you say, she'll remember you. Fondly,
Well,
hopefully.
she might have been sent by them. She might have been sent by Yggdrasil itself. Um, I don't know.
Least we can do is give greeting. It's only respectful, yes?
Cautiously.
When she seems like she's not occupied, right?
Let's not be a threat. She's
Of course.
It is very powerful, mm, benevolent, as far as I know, but very powerful.
I've no interest in making an enemy of her. I'd much rather be her friend, even without that in the equation.
As would I. Um, Fenn will extend his arm again in an uncharacteristic manner for Nana to kind of follow him uh to go maybe talk to the matron.
Okay.
If it
Maybe.
seems like we can slide in unobtrusively or without being rude.
Okay. The two of you make your way casually in the direction of the matron. Aubryn kind of like Urshan, when you start focusing in on other people, you see that there are a lot of people that were very unfazed by what was happening. Like, this is something they've been waiting to happen. And you're like, but in that split second where it's like the tree is exploding, it's hard to kind of look around and gauge everybody rapidly in that moment. But Aubryn watches the parade come out. Oh, it's Dee Dee's cart. I have to go get some of that sausage. All right. And she gives you like a little bit of a head nod. Best sausage on the continent. I advise. It was nice to talk to you. If you have anything else, you're always welcome into our half circle to talk.
It was a pleasure, and I hope this isn't the last time we meet.
Well, keep being interesting and maybe we'll stumble across each other. I have to get to that cart before everybody starts forming a line, and makes her way through. And you can see that just like the rest of the group almost sort of just like almost like ghosts just sort of slip into the crowd. And it seems go back about maybe the business of gathering information or watching things and learning things. Russ and company run over, and it's like, ooh, I didn't get these last year because I was too late. I was in the middle of a fight. And he's like, gets like a little box full of popcorn. Exciting.
Get my own.
2 boxes of popcorn. He just does that thing where you like stick your tongue out and just like pull popcorn into your mouth.
That's the proper way to eat it, probably.
Yeah.
So,
Keld, what are you getting? They have almost everything. Compared to like, there's like, the big fancy table, but this is the fun stuff.
So many snacks.
Yeah, it's just candies and
Killed will switch it up and grab something else. It's not popcorn.
we'll grab a third for him.
Yeah, you get a
Ronnie
third one
wants
anyways. You can get there's things like fruit leather, there's candied apples, there are different meats. Is there anything in particular?
Grab a candied apple.
Okay. You get an apple that looks like it's candied in some sort of like purple confectionery. It looks like it's not the easiest thing in the world to eat, but it's pretty and it does taste good. It will be in your teeth the rest of the party though.
And that's okay.
And that's what we're here for.
It's like an after party in your mouth.
Yeah.
Roshan, from your perspective, you can kind of see everyone. You can see your whole party in this space because they're all in the courtyard. And you catch sight of plenty of people that you've talked to or spoken with or seen that are now engaging with the food and drink or the magicians that are walking around. And you catch sight of Alyona, who it looks like stood and like walked into the space a bit and like looks to the tree. And it looks like she kind of like clicks her tongue a bit. And then she goes and sits on a nearby bench. Is there anything you want to do? Do you want to go get a snack and drink? Do you want to go engage with anybody? Do you want to keep watching? What do you want to do, Roshan?
I think Roshan, after he parted with the group of really hot people, he wants to get in range of telepathy with Egil, just to say, give me a nod if you've got time later to dance with me.
Looking at each other across the courtyard. And he is currently standing with the Lady Lord sort of off to the side of a cart as General Talarin is like, so the sugar is, do you spin it fast and it's and then it's big and fluffy crazy. I'll take give.
Wow.
And get something akin to cotton candy. Because magic is real and can't stop me from making cotton candy. Or like
Fair.
a nice hand crank, a million ways we could make it. All very fun. Magic the funnest.
Cotton
Like
candy
seriously,
is
fire
magic.
magic exists.
Magic
magic exists.
Cotton candy exists.
Yes, it's
These
fairy
are
floss.
the two known things about this
It
world.
is-
Magic and cotton candy.
It is the paramount import from the Feywild. We know this. It's canonical.
And,
It's fairy floss.
But Roshan, you do make a quick eye contact with Egil. And he gives you a nod that he assumes he will have time later for a dance.
And Roshan will then settle in and go sit down on a bench next to Eliona.
You go sit down on a bench as two of your friends walk towards what Fen reveres nearly as a god, until introduced to gods. But if he had to pick, we all know who he'd pick.
Oh, yeah.
And then the rest of your friends off getting snacks as you watch someone walk over to Russ, and it looks like apologize first, as Russ sets his popcorn box on top of the third popcorn box that you bought. So now Nyx just has 3 popcorn boxes. And they begin to make their way towards the circle. Aliona sits and is just watching kind of the now weird childlike chaos of the space, how it turned from this very refined party and then Mood said, I disagree, and churned it into this for this moment.
Now it's a fucking circus.
And you watch Aliona watching, and she kind of moves her fingers and she flicks them. You can see it out of the corner of your eye that she flicks the magic from her fingers, and you watch her wince.
I don't think Roshan's going to mention that now, but he files that away for later talk. And he instead asks, because it was yesterday where she danced with the
Yes.
devil, right?
Yeah.
He asks, so how was your dance yesterday?
Huh. She smiles. And it is a wide thing. Just this big smile that spreads across her face. And then it falters back down slowly. It was one of the more amazing moments of my life. An honor.
And will you... This sounds strange because of who it is, but Roshan says, will you see him again?
Then she turns her head and looks at you. You are a good friend to have, and I appreciate it. And I have made many acquaintances for somebody very new. But he is home. And he understands me. And for now, that is enough. So I expect to see him again, and even if I did not feel that way, he would find me, I'm sure.
I think you're right in that. Speaking of home and the people that are home, I've decided to ask you to bring my sister back to me. Not here, but tomorrow. We don't need to be in the same place, do we?
She looks out to the party, the now very raucous party. Well, that's sort of a shame that we stumble into each other and I give you this gift, and we don't get to see it.
It I'm going to ask you to return my sister to me, and as much as I have been waiting for this for years, I don't want the pink tiefling to get any ideas. Me and my sister were a bit of an experiment to her. One that she would happily collect on, were she to know that we were together. So unfortunately, I feel for both of our safety, it's best to do it out of the public eye. Though I'm sure my friends would invite you if you wanted me to ask. We're heading to a charming, small community in the woods.
Roshan, do you think I want to go to small, nice community in the woods?
I don't think you'd have a lick in common with any of them.
That's a shame. I don't have a lot in common with anyone.
I think you will, eventually.
What is the wording of your wish?
I This isn't going to like trigger anything now, will it?
You are incapable of casting wish.
Okay, I wish for you to bring my sister Rose to me safely, here in the woods, where I will be tomorrow.
For my safety, let's put some words on it. And what does Rose look like? What is the name
Yeah.
of the woods? Those are the things I'm working with. So give me an idea of her appearance and then tell me the name of the woods.
You know, I haven't heard a proper name for the woods, though they usually just call them Dem Woods.
Dem Woods, okay. I bring her to Dem
Um,
Woods.
And my sister Rose, Rosetta, she looks like me. I'd say we were twins, but we're probably some weird other thing that the pink tiefling made. So
To be born, to be made. There is no difference, there is no greater. Honestly, to be molded. What a great gift. It's easier to do it when you are born instead of having to have it happen over your life, you know. To mold oneself. Much more work than to be molded by destiny or somebody powerful.
I suppose to grow up in one's power is to more fully understand it, but perhaps not to be aware of its blind sides.
That's the thing. That's the thing about having to practice your magic and learn it from books and study and practice over and over again. Is I don't have blind sides. Which is very nice. So maybe I am grateful for not getting a week off. Well, look at me here, fancy party.
I don't mean to pry, but what is it? What's the big event happening next week? What are you preparing for? And feel free to keep it hush hush if you'd rather.
Can't you smell it? You don't feel it in the air. You don't see it in your sun every day that it rises.
I think Roshan would like to do a little introspection to see if he can understand what she's talking about.
I'm good. I'm going to say probably not.
Great.
Unless you
That's
had an
also what I
idea,
thought.
probably not.
Nope.
And she waits and sees if you do have a vibe. And when you do not answer, she kind of looks around and then up. War. You can't feel it on the horizon. You can't feel it roiling. And I'm not talking about below the dirt. I'm talking about up here where the sun shines. It's palpable, the feeling of conflict.
I'd hoped it was the feeling of a fish out of water.
A shame. It seems that your west has scorned your east, and there will be conflict. I have only been here so long, but there will be conflict. And she looks at you. And I would like to stop it from happening. I am going to stop your war from happening. That is what I'm working on.
I think Roshan looks at her and for one of the first times has a really vulnerable look of surprise and says, then I suppose I should thank you and ask, is there any way I can help?
You are from this west area. I have not been able to visit yet. It is next on my list. I need names. I need to know who I have to talk to. Would you be willing to give this to me?
Of course. And Roshan will give a list of chiefs. When he gets to the ghost chiefs, he just calls her a ghost. Just says her name. Well, she's actually inhabited by an elf ghost. Long story.
Okay.
And then we'll just
Weebs.
go on with his list.
So tell me if you leave somebody off of this list.
Okay.
So there's Jarl Astra Torgrim's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
There is Hertha Lonsdottir.
Yeah.
There's Alec Bromson. There's Freyrune Marish, who you identify as a ghost inhabiting a body. And then there's Vandil Stromer. Those are the chiefs that came to the event in Galunder.
Yeah, he'll name all of them and then and say, oh, and I almost forgot, but the pretty one over there with a lava motif, he's also one of them.
I suppose I should talk to him. I was at first going to speak to these dignitaries and focus on them and their war that they have been on about, it seems, for quite some time. But as someone who has only known war, I'm not going to get them to stop. So I'm going to focus on one I probably can. And I will talk to your chief friends. And I will do my best. And you need not thank me, for I am sure I will get some satisfaction out of it.
Well, then let me help you by making an introduction. And Roshan lifts his eyebrows and over toward Egil, asking her with his actions if she wants an invite or an introduction.
I suppose, and so we do not have to talk later. She stands, and kind of smooths out her dress.
It's convenient now.
Am I wishing that your sister, Rosetta, will arrive safely in Dem Woods with you tomorrow?
Yes. Would you like me to provide a time, or would you rather I message you tomorrow?
So I'm going to give you this perspective. I am asking the universe for a gift. It sort of leaves my hands rather quickly, asking the universe of such things. Some asks are easier. If you asked for me to bring her right here, right now, that would be a lot easier. If it was just bring her right here to my feet, safe and sound, and I'd say it's done, and I would feel no ache or pain for it. If I am putting someone in a place I have never been before, at a time specific, then it gets more complicated and dangerous for me. I'm not saying I won't do this, but either you give me a time and I try to work with that. And the thing is, I will probably be making this wish before the night is over. So maybe you should give me time. I'll let you
Sure.
dwell on that if you need.
Um, no need. I think Roshan is like distressed from the whole day, and he says, "No need. Let's say uh, early afternoon."
Okay. Once again, this will still take a toll on me physically. Probably. But I've given you wish. I should not be picky.
Well, I hope that you would call on me should anything you see befitting my talents could aid you. Um, and then I think they're over by Egil.
Yeah, you make your way over and she kind of glances down at her hands. It don't hurt his feelings if I do not shake his hand, right? And she kind of puts her hand out like this. Her palm is many shades of purple, the entirety of her palm. And you glance at her other one and see the other one looks exactly the same way. They are just completely purpled.
Um, of course he won't. And Roshan will just give him a quick note as they approach and say, "Don't try to shake her hands, you might lose an arm." And then out loud, he'll say, "Egil, I'd like you to meet one of my dear friends, Alyona." And introduce them. And uh, yeah, I don't think he'll need to do more than that. I think they'll
Yeah.
probably get it.
She comes over and does like a bit of a nod, which he returns, and she also addresses the Lady Lord, who is very nearby. As you did not address her, so she's like, "Hey, I'll make this triangle complete. I'm not here to piss off this person in particular." And two birds, one stone. And Miss Alyona, it is a pleasure to meet you. If you are conversing with Roshan and he saw fit for us to communicate, I'm sure this will be a productive conversation. And she smiles. I would like to talk to you about your city. And she smiles, and they begin to talk about Olafsveller. And you can see the Lady Lord like watching and seems interested. Like she's like, okay, I'll I'll focus in on your conversation for a bit. And as people talk, and the second fight for Russ for the night comes to a conclusion with Russ victorious, as he comes over and picks up some popcorn that he had left. Maybe I need a drink first. My mouth's a little dry. And goes to one of the new stands that seems to be selling some sort of drink. And people continue on their way in their directions in this new energy that the party brings. And that is where we are going to stop for tonight. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it. We love telling you guys a story. If you'd like to see more of that story, you can head over to youtube.com/the Dice Cult and watch all past episodes of On the Backs of Gods, one-shots, other D&D campaigns, Vampire the Masquerade, whatever you're feeling. If you want to keep up with us, we are at Backs of Gods on Instagram and Twitter. If you want to keep up with all of us, we are at the Dice Cult on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you again for being here. We appreciate it. We love telling you a story. If you want to see Katie's beautiful dice, I don't have a thing to put it in. It'll be there. You'll find it. If you head over to the Discord, you'll find beautiful pictures of dice. It'll be great.
Many beautiful pictures.
So thank you again. We appreciate it. We love telling you guys a story, especially when the players thought that they were about to have a really bad time. Instead, they got popcorn. We'll be here same time, same place. That doesn't really work with this one, but that's okay. On Twitch, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we will see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, cultists.